Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video tutorial we are going to talk about badges and Materialize Css. Badges. Okay, but before we talk about these badges, let's move back to this CSS where we stop. The last time we talked about table, okay, and what follows next was transition. The transition is talking about something like that. Just watch this and see how it appears and disappears, which is this. Okay, you see, this is the transition and this is the sample code. But what really happens is that this sample code don't really work. But what they are trying to tell you is that the transition does something like this. You see how this disappears? You see how it appears? Okay, so but there is a lot of things you can do to achieve this. You have to do research about it, and I suggest that you go learn if you want transitions and animations, you go learn this Css. Okay, learning this will give you a whole lot of things. Okay, a whole lot of transitions, animations that you will really like. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about this, but at your own time I think you still do some research about it. But learning Anime.css is preferable and better. Okay, here we have apart from transition, okay, we have the typography. Okay, the typography, this is the CSS headers we have in HTML, and this is how Materialize differentiate them. You can see the header 1. Once you use header 1, this is what the size that Materialize is going to give you. Header 2, header 3, header 4, header 5, and header 6. Header 6 is not even bold in Materialize. Okay, they just want to show you so that you know when it is right to use which one you want to use. Unless you are going to use inline CSS to reduce this styling you are seeing here. Okay, we want to save time. At your own time you read this and all that. Okay, still on typography, we have the one of block quotes, which we are going to test out. It says when you use block quotes, look at what we are going to have. I copy this back to my Visual Studio Code. I have already created index.html. Okay, where I have do my linking. My Materialize CSS is here. The icon is here. Okay, this is the Materialize and jQuery. If you don't understand this, please I suggest you watch the number 1 and the number 2 video tutorial in this series. Check out the playlist, which I will paste in the description below, so that you watch the introduction part and understand how we configure this and what these things you are seeing here are doing. Okay, let me just paste this block quote. Let me test it out so that we can see what it looks like. Okay, Reveal in Explorer. I open this code. Okay, you see what we have in block quote. Okay, let me just remove the block quote. Put this in a normal nav div. Okay, lorem 20. Okay, I have this. Back to my code. You see the one that is the normal div. Okay, you see the one that is in block quote. So anytime you need this design, just use block quote as a tag. Okay, so that you can easily get that. Okay, this is the block quote, this is the div, but this is not actually what we are going to learn in this video tutorial, but I just want to talk about them. Let it not be that we skip anything. Okay, for the flow test, you see what we have. It says add this class flow test to make this test a flow test. Okay, what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to create 2 div. let me call this the first div. Okay, let me put lorem 20 to it. Okay, this is the first div. As you can see here, let me just duplicate this. Okay, we have the two div. Okay, let's test it out. Okay, these are the two things we have, the first div here and the second div here. Okay, so this first one, I'm going to use the flow text in it, so that let's see what it will look like. Remember, they say that you should put flow text in the class. Okay, so back to the first div, let me put the class flow text. Okay, so let me test it out. You see the flow text, you see the size. Okay, when you remove the flow text, it comes back to this. Okay, this is what all about typography. At your own time, look more into it. Don't think these things are really that relevant. That's why I don't really want to lay too much emphasis on it. So let's move to the business of the day, which is the badges. Okay, note that in this video tutorial we are focusing on practical stuff. When we are talking about badges, we are talking about this. Okay, which is this one is using background color, this one is not using, this one is not using. We can use badges in so many ways. We can use badges in drop down, as you can see here. Okay, we can use badges in navigation menu to define notification, something like that. We can equally use badges in collapsible, something like this. Something that when you click, it is true we have not reached accordion and all that, but you can use badges there. You can equally use we have talked about drop down, right? You can use badges in drop down. You can use in navbar. Okay, you can use in collapsible, which is this. This is a badge with background and a badge without background. Okay, and also we can change the color of our badges and a whole lot of that. Okay, let's just get started. Okay, let me start with this one now. Let me copy these collections. Okay, so removing this, I only have this div with class container. I paste this badge here, this code here. Okay, let's explain what is in the code. This is a normal link, as we all know, and this is the badge, okay, which is this. Okay, let me remove this badge. Let me remove anything badge here. Let me still remove this. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's test out this code and see what we have first without badge. Okay, you see what we have, a collection of data with no badges. Now let's start adding badges so that you see how we do it. Okay, in this first one, I'm going to add badge. One thing about badge is that it doesn't really matter where you put it, whether you put it here or here, badge is going to be at the right hand side. Okay, let me just add this now. Badge, no. First of all, use span. Okay. After having this span, I will now place what will be in the badge. Let me say new. I just want to say that this is new. I can now put this class here, badge. Okay, so coming back to this code, you see what we have now, new. Okay, this is a badge. I'm telling you that this we are seeing is just like a new feature that we have. But here, this badge doesn't have a background color. How do we put a background color to a badge? Remember that the second one has background color. Okay, to do that, we just add new to the badge class. New to the badge class. Okay, so I just come here and add new. Remember, you have to give space. New badge. Okay, it will give me a background color. Okay, you see it here. I have the background color. So why am I having this new? Let me check again. When we are doing new badge, automatically using this class knows that this is new, and we are not expected to put any data in between. Okay, so I have to remove this. Since I'm making use of new badge, data are not expected to be here. Looking at this class, Materialize knows that you are trying to tell the user this is a new feature. Okay, so we are not expected to put anything here, but because whatever thing you put here will be attached with this new here. Okay, let's test this code again. You see I have new without putting here. By writing this new badge, it's just going to indicate that this collection of data here, this ln1, is a new feature. Okay, you can only do this whenever you want to tell a user that you have just implemented a new feature. Okay, that's what we have here. Back to our code, you will see that in this new batch he used 4. Okay, that's why we are having this 4, a kind of 4 new features or so. So adding anything in this place will just come in the right side before this new that we have here. So having this idea now will help you to know exactly how to use this badge. Okay, then what about when we want to only focus on badge? Like I said, you can use this badge in a drop down. You see where we have it. You see in this drop down here, we have new badge and we have one. That's why we are seeing it in a drop down. So our main aim is to learn how to use this bar so that you can easily put it anywhere you want to put it, whether it is in the drop down, whether you want to put it in the nav bar, collapsible, so on and so forth. So coming back here, there is a lot of way we can color our badge. We can use the background color here. Okay, even without using the new. For example, to avoid making this more complicated or confusing, I think I can just use only badge here. Okay, remember please, let me bring this down so that our main focus will be on this badge. Okay, remember this is the badge. If this new badge will be giving you headache, I think write whatever thing you want to write here. Whether you want to write new, bad, good, whatever, just write it here. Okay, then give your background color here. I can put it here green. Okay, badge green. Automatically this badge will have a green background color. Okay, back to our code here. I refresh. You see I have a green background color, but the problem here is that the font is a kind of black. Okay, for me to change that, I can just go style, okay, color white, and you save yourself some stress. Okay, so that you can easily change the background color and do whatever thing you want to do here in your own way and making your life more easier. Okay, let me refresh this. You see we have the text now in a white color. Okay, I can easily come here and change whatever color I want. I can use pink if you are a lady. You refresh, you see we have pink as a background for this badge. Okay, I think that's all we have for batch. Play around what we have here in the Materialize CSS. Go to the component, you will see batch, okay, so that you can learn more. Thank you so much for your time. Bye bye. In the next video we are going to talk about buttons. See you in the next one.